Some burdens that we have to carry with us on our backs are transparent from the start. Monsters that lurk in the shadows with razor-sharp claws and venomous teeth. But others are more subtle, simmering quietly in every wrong turn until before you know it, you have a mountain of regret carved in your name, or in Heracles' case, corpses. Heracles walked towards the port of Mycenae, summoned by the herald of King Eurystheus. This time, the air felt heavier, the familiar steps toward duty clouded by uncertainty. Upon arrival, the herald greeted him with a lowered gaze, not out of reverence or fear, but of caution. This labour, he explained, would be different than the rest. The king had gifted the choice of the task to another. Heracles turned bewildered, and there stood Admete, the king's daughter, poised, unmoved, eyes sharp as bronze. She stared at him, unflinching, no trace of her father's cowardice in her bones, and with a voice steady as iron, she declared the challenge. Journey to Themyscira and retrieve the girdle of Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons. Her golden belt was a relic, rumoured to stop any who wore it from being defeated in battle. Heracles smiled, wide and knowing. The challenge was perilous, impossible, but he assented, just like all of the rest. With a crew he had grown to trust, Heracles boarded the ship and set course for the edge of the world, Themyscira, a land ruled by female warriors infamous for their ability in battle, who detested the very sight of any man. As Heracles drew near to the shore, the Amazons watched in silence, their stares sharper than their spears as the ship arrived at the port. Heracles, uneasy, stepped forward towards the onlooking queen Hippolyta, the daughter of Ares, the god of war. Her beauty and warrior prowess were clear to all. Heracles expected a battle from the start, but instead found warmth. Hippolyta greeted him not with fury, but reverence. She had heard of his feats and saw in him a kindred spirit. Heracles and his crew were welcomed as guests and feasted in the palace court. And beneath the stars, Hippolyta led him to a quiet courtyard, away from her warrior sisters, to share a cup of wine. She had listened to the murmurs of Heracles' purpose, and instead of war, she offered the belt willingly, a relic given to her by her father. They embraced, two warriors caught between worlds. But in the shadows, Hera watched, cunning, bitter, and ready to sow discord. Anger bloomed in the hearts of the Amazons. Their queen had betrayed their laws, and Hera fanned the flames into a war cry. Heracles awoke suddenly to the sound of hooves, clashing steel, and raised voices. From the balcony, he watched as torches blazed, and warriors charged on horseback, and fury overtook him. He saw betrayal where there was none, and, in a violent rage, he attacked Hippolyta. Their fight was merciless, and in a blur of rage and venom, Heracles did what no man ever could before, and struck her down, dead. As Hippolyta lay still in his arms, regret seared deeper than any wound. But his mourning was short-lived. The Amazons came in thick, powerful waves, and Heracles and the soldiers fought with all the strength and courage they could muster, but it wasn't enough. Retreating to the ship, as the Amazons looked on, screaming their war cries and despair, Heracles watched Themyscira vanish behind him, and felt the weight of everything he could not undo. On the shore, Penthesilea, now the queen, in her fallen sister's place, swore eternal enmity to Greece and man. Her pain and grief would one day fuel her own infamous charge in the Trojan War, where she would come face to face with another hero, whose name would ring down through the ages. But for now, Heracles returned to Mycenae, holding the belt in remorseful hands. Admete and the herald waited once more on the harbour, watching as Heracles stepped forward with the glittering trinket. But the princess was so entranced by the glitter of gold that she snatched the prize from Heracles' grasp, offered no thanks, and walked away. Though Admete displayed a courage that her cowardly father had never possessed, she inherited all of his cruelty and lack of honour. With nothing left but silence, Heracles departed again, with no destination in mind and no glory from yet another unbearable task. As he walked, he began to realize that his labors were not stepping stones to redemption, but the endless demands of a world that gave him strength and then punished him for using it.